All right. A little bit late, but not too bad. Let me call City Council meeting to order here at 6:10, pretty close to 6 o'clock. Thank you all for coming. Press and public have been duly notified. Thank you all for being here again. I'm going to ask everybody to stand for an invocation. Pledge of Allegiance. Let us bow our heads. O Heavenly Father, we ask for your direction as we conduct the city's business tonight. We thank you for allowing us to be stewards of your island. We cherish it in everything we do. As we enter the Thanksgiving season, we give you thanks for all that you have provided us, particularly the health of our families, our friends, and our neighbors. And we ask that you bless them all. For it is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Marie, please call the roll.
Councilmember Birdworth. Here. Councilmember Vitale.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Lorenz.
Here.
Councilmember Harrington.
Here.
Councilmember Tillman.
Here.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Councilmember Ward.
Here.
Mayor Cronin.
Present.
Administrator Tucker. Here. Attorney Howard.
Here.
Okay. Do we have minutes from the 25th of October?
It's been tough.
Did you not get them?
Maybe I didn't get them. Well, I saw they're on the agenda. Well, I'm not going to read it now, so
Read quick.
I'll accept everybody else's amendments, corrections, deletions.
They're great.
They're great.
Motion
Motion to approve, second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're done with that. Citizens' comments. Before we bring the citizens forward, I'm going to make one announcement for the public, and the council is already aware of this, that we've been notified by the Department of Transportation that the Palm Boulevard from Breach Inlet to 21st Avenue will be repaved in the reasonably near future. In addition to paving the road, they will be installing a bike lane on both sides of the road. As many of you may know, we have a bike lane currently on the intercoastal side of Palm Boulevard, but they will be installing a bike lane on the ocean side of Palm Boulevard. And it's a proper bike lane. It's not just a 1 foot wide strip or anything else like that. If I recall my discussions with the administrator properly, they're going to be bidding this contract in January. The work, depending on how the bids come in, this is a project that will encompass not only our Breach Inlet to 21st Avenue, it will encompass Jasper also on Sullivan's Island, but we'll let them make that announcement. So it's 703 from 703 on down to 21st will be taken care of. They have agreed that there'll be no work between Memorial Day and Labor Day in the event that they can't, the contractor can't get it done in the spring. It'll move off to the fall, and that it is designed to be a night project so that it'll be the least disruptive on traffic. It may be disruptive relative to noise when they're working in a particular area, but hopefully we can work through that in the course of development. There's a lot of other details that the staff has already met with the DOT on to work out as far as logistics, security, rerouting of traffic. You can imagine what's going to happen when this all comes about. And we will, if we haven't done so already, be communicating with the Water and Sewer Commission. They're already on board, okay, because we don't want them shortly after we repave the road to come through and cut the road to put in a new water line. We'd like them to get that done beforehand. So if that works out, all right. So that's very good news from the department. We've been, I won't say we've been begging them, but this is probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years in the making, and good stuff.
Mr. Mayor, one quick question, and maybe it's for the chief. As he said, we've been working on this for years. Does this mean that they have to ride in the bike path and not in the road anymore?
That's the nod.
That's a,
He's a good poker player.
yeah, well,
Mayor, I'd like to thank you and
Please.
Linda for your extra efforts, especially in the last year, to make this happen. It's very valuable.
well, the best thing is the road actually needs the work. You know? And having pointed that out to we meet with the DOT, what, a couple times a year, 3 or 4 times a year. And we drive them across that stretch and show them where the cracks and holes are and where the patches have been made. And of course, we always insist on consideration of a bike path, so they were,
This is a federally funded project.
This is federal-
We don't
this is-
get too many of those.
this is federal money that's coming to the island. I mean, this is very, very rare, so kudos to the Department of Transportation now and hopefully when the project is complete. So that's my announcement for citizens before anybody falls asleep on the video. So I'll open up for any other citizen comments that would like to come forward. Please, come forward. Just give us your name and address for the record and
Good evening. My name's Dudley Spangler. I live at 408 Ocean Boulevard with my wife and my dog. And first of all, I want to say thank you to the chief and Chief Graham for all of their efforts and the whole city staff during the Hurricane Matthew and the response that you all did from the council and the staff and the administration were outstanding. And it's, and Donnie Pitts' crew that are still working on storm cleanup. We can't thank you enough for living here, and it is just, we have the best. And I want to thank you for that. My question tonight, though, is I was here during the Ways and Means talking about the beach renourishment project, extending it, which I do firmly agree with, because to me it would seem that if you permit it in one, it would save you a lot of money in these mind-numbingly dumb government fees that we're all having to deal with. So I think it's important that we do it in the project. I understand that it's not funded yet, and that we need to, but I will also say that I understand the wild dunes aspect of it, but living on the western end of the Isle, during Matthew, we lost our primary dune. And fortunately, the city came in and you got us an emergency dune, and we've been protected. But we since had a king tide this week that we've lost probably a third of that already. And we have another king tide expected next month. And so this is not, something that is going to go away. We not only lost width of dune, we lost depth of beach. And since the last king tides in October of a year ago, and this king tide, and the chief can probably say, because they come down my ramp at 5th and Ocean, it used to be a relatively steep, access ramp for them to get down. Well, there's not much there anymore. And so, I really want to encourage you guys and ladies, to figure out what we can do to, help our end of the island too, because the beach is what brings the people here. This is what drives the engine. And I noticed that our accommodation tax on one of the forms, I just briefly looked at it during the last meeting, was down last year. And that concerns me. If revenues come down, that means we can't fund things that we want to do. Why is it down? Is it the hotel that was closed? Does is there rhyme or reason? Is the parking issue driving people away? Is the revenue from the parking down versus a year ago, excluding the fine deal? These are all questions that, I have in the back of my mind that, to me, are important of what's going on. I think it would be interesting to know the traffic count. I know there's a way to track it, You know, is the traffic count down from a year ago? If these people aren't coming and not spending money, then we got a problem. So I'm rambling here a little bit, but my main thing is I appreciate the expansion of the permit of the beach renourishment. My last question is beach renourishment just dune renourishment, or is it bringing, what is the definition under their contract? And I wanted to ask the gentleman that, but I couldn't.
You should have pulled him outside the room. He'd have given you 20 minutes of...
Well, I know, but so that's kind of where I am.
Well, not being a technician, but it's somewhere between 30 and 60 feet of dry sand beach.
Okay. All right.
After the sand is placed.
Nicely contoured.
After it's
Okay.
contoured, and there's more at the start, but you lose some shortly thereafter.
Is
Sure.
that material that Deli could come to City Hall to look at as for the beach health, the records that we have here?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Most of those are posted on the city's website.
Okay.
If you go to www.iop.net and go under administration, then click on beach restoration, we have a reverse chronology from the most current to the oldest of all
Okay.
of the documents and all of the information. But you're welcome to come to City Hall.
Okay, no, but I appreciate your time. Thank you all for your service. You know, you all do a great job, and the city staff and everybody, I can't speak highly enough about you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very good. Others, anyone else wish to speak? No? Okay, let me move on to report from Ways and Means Committee, which ink's not even dry.
Seems that we just met.
I forgot about it.
The first thing I wish to report from Ways and Means is another good news item. We received a letter by snail mail from the South Carolina Rural Infrastructure Authority. And they're pleased to inform us that we have been awarded the Basic Infrastructure Grant for the Phase 2 drainage project, which is really 52nd Avenue through 46th, I think. I always get the last one wrong. 46th, 45th, somewhere in there. And the amount is $500,000. So I'm looking at Desiree here, who was, no, she doesn't want to be called forward. I told her we'd embarrass her at some point. This could be the moment. But without her determination of first figuring out that we could apply for a rural infrastructure grant, and then pushing us to the point where we did apply and putting the application together herself and carrying it forward and answering the questions from their staff, et cetera, we've been awarded for the first time ever that I know of a rural infrastructure grant in the amount of $500,000, which will give us the opportunity to virtually complete the project with the monies that we have on hand, monies we've received from CTC or?
Both,
Okay. From
CTC and TST.
TST and CTC. This is Charleston Transportation Council, anyhow, other funds. We now can execute a project that will alleviate the stormwater conditions in those avenues and move the water back to the marsh areas where it'll do some good, I gather. And will save all those properties from being inundated when it showers, let alone rains. So congratulations, Desiree. Don't.
She's blushing.
She's blushing. But I mean, that's quite a win, frankly, for us. So congratulations. There is one caveat. Just I know somebody's going to ask. We cannot apply again for monies for 2 years.
No, that's okay.
Put it on your calendar.
2 years.
Right.
And
Right.
imagine how
Fill out
much
the
more
paperwork.
could happen if we can free up some staff time. Boy, there's potential.
Okay, we moved on and I'll make a recommendation for the award of a sole source contract for Musco Lighting in the amount of $125,000 to replace the soccer
second that.
field lighting. Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We considered a sole source contract for Civil Site Environmental to do some drainage improvement analysis for Sandala Court in the amount of $2,500.
Make that a motion?
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Recommendation from Real Property, allocation of fundings for the design, engineering, and improvements of the public restrooms and showers and dune walkovers in the amount of $34,782 to Leolio and Company. This will encompass field verification, design, development, construction, documentation, and permitting and bidding.
Second.
I'll make that as a motion. I have a
Second.
second. All in favor, or any discussion? All, yes.
Just a
Jimmy.
little bit of discussion. Again, as I said before, I wish we would go after the Charleston County, not Charleston County Parks and Recreation, but Charleston County. But anyway, I support this, and thank you.
Okay. Well, as I said before, we'll make that effort to seek funding from them. We're now at a much more, I think, a level that they should be able to afford, so, I think. We haven't got the construction cost yet, but we know what the max is gonna be, so. All right, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
2 noes. All right, we went on and made a motion to amend the permit application to OCRM and the Corps of Engineers for the offshore dredging project to include the entire shoreline. Like that as a motion?
Second.
Seconded, our engineering folks were here, and this can be done without without any additional cost, other than the cost we've already incurring for the permit application they're executing now, so it should go forward relatively easily. That part's easy. So, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We moved on to consider, but tabled, the discussion of awarding a contract to HIT Contracting. We've referred that back to the Public Works Committee, who will digest it, and if it's palatable, we'll come back to us for the recommendation. We went on to consider a sole source contract for Stantec in the amount of $11,910 for alterations and amendments to the sign plan for managed beach parking and plan. So I'll make that as a motion,
Second.
and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
2 noes. Okay. And then we considered, and this will ultimately be in Sterling's camp, when we amended the stormwater fee and we moved from $36 to $48, it turns out that within the county's consideration, they were considering non-residential parcels under a whole different formula. And they have sampled us with, and I guess all of the property owners and too, with what that non-residential parcel revised formula would be, and some of the parcels increased in fee structure, I don't know, 2,000%, 1,000%, huge changes on many of them. So we have made a motion, and I'll make the motion here, that we authorize county to increase non-residential parcels by no more than 33% over their prior year's 2015 bill. Motion and seconded. Any further discussion? This will require an ordinance on our part, which we'll have to take through the process. So, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Carries. We heard from our treasurer from 1/3 of the way through the year. Our revenues are at 16% of budget, which is not unexpected. It's actually running 33% ahead of prior year, most of which are on or above prior year's expectation. Both parking and other expenses are significantly up, and our local option sales tax was a double payment, so that'll balance out. We never get it to 200% on any of these, but it shows that way this month. Our cash balance is solid. We're from this time last year, we're virtually $3 million ahead, but there are reasons for that, and we probably spend the money to bring that back to a more normal balance. But right now, we have $16 million between all our accounts, our tourism accounts, our general fund accounts, and our capital projects, et cetera. On the expense side, in our general fund, the departments that worked the hardest during Matthew, and I guess continue to work in some cases relative to Public Works, and therefore worked significant overtime, have in one case exceeded the 33% toggle of 4 months, 1/3 of the year, but only by a little bit. The fire department's running 34% of budget. But all of them have significant overtime, included in that, which we will be, based on today's work with the staff, working with the FEMA representatives and the Emergency Management Department Division of South Carolina. How many people were here?
I didn't head count, but we did have representatives from both FEMA and the state. Alan Fountain.
More than two?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
10 folks here looking at our claims for FEMA. You can imagine what it costs just the staff. The FEMA.
They were from all over the United States, far away as California.
California. Well, I guess it could be worse. We had somebody here from, was it Idaho last time or something like that?
A lot in common.
Yeah, devise your imagination. However, the process is moving forward. We know what we have to do relative to filing with FEMA for reclaiming the expenses incurred for recovery under Matthew. And while the expenses will still be on those line items, we should see a revenue eventually from FEMA's reimbursement to us for those direct expenses. So that part's a very good news. We talked about our tourism funds. Our accommodations tax is running at 2% ahead of last year. At this time, our state first quarter payment is in, and we're roughly less than 1% over prior year. That's not a bad number. The first quarter of the state is never representative of what's actually happened because they keep the Robin Hood provision and they balance it off and they give it back to us in the fourth quarter. So there's no way to tie it out to what's happened actually in our tourism activities. Our hospitality tax fee was increased. We received $68,000, which is up from $66,000 prior year. So that also is good and is trending well. And of course, our beach preservation fee follows our municipal accommodations tax and is currently sitting just under $2 million. So that's all well and good. So I think that's all we covered an hour ago. But if I missed anything, I'm certain somebody will point it out to me. So no questions for Ways and Means. All right, let's move on. Public safety, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a new respect for what Marie does.
Had to do your own minutes.
I had to do my own minutes, yes. The Public Safety Committee met Wednesday, November 2nd. Under old business, we discussed encroachments on the rights of way, and the police department is in the process of taking photos and making files to document those encroachments, so we'll have something to work with. Under new business, Stephanie Gobash with the aquarium addressed the committee, and I'd like to put this into a form of a motion, and that would be to designate the SC Aquarium 2017 Turtle Trek on Saturday, September 23rd as a city-sponsored event.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion? They had a good year the first time, so. Did anybody check the tide table for them?
They did.
did.
Okay. All right. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carries.
Thank you. Also, you have in your packet a law enforcement assistance and support agreement with the City of Charleston Police Department. I would make a motion to accept this agreement. This has been with our legal person for some time and finally came back. But this is our assistance and support with the City of Charleston, which we have with many of the other agencies in the area.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a
Second.
second? Is this any different than the agreements we have with others?
It's just updated a little bit to track the new language in the statute that became effective in June or July. So there are a couple of new changes where they have to now reference FOIA requests and how the municipalities will divvy up the responsibility for that. That's one of the newest changes. Just making sure that all the language is in there that's required in the statute, so.
So we're going to have to amend all the others too?
We will at some point, to
Okay.
get them all up to speed. But, it doesn't affect the enforceability, but we just want to have it all up to date
Okay.
so that they track. And I think the City of Charleston is planning to have this on the agenda on the 22nd, so next Tuesday.
Okay.
And once they approve it, then it'll be ready for execution.
I have a-
Yes,
Do
Carol?
we need to do this for fire as well?
This is more of the police department one, and I think we already do have a similar type of agreement for the fire departments. And I'll have to check exactly, which municipalities we have those with, but I know we do, I'm pretty sure we do with, I want to say the county, but.
Yeah, I think it's a Charleston County Regional.
But it's a different type of agreement. It's not called, I think, it's not called mutual aid.
Ah.
That one is more like automatic aid, and we did that within the past
Right.
year, I think. So that might sound.
Okay, so that's not what this is.
So
This
no,
isn't mutual
This is really
aid.
more police emergency services that would happen in case of emergency types of situations, like natural disasters, riots, if they need assistance, and it lists the different things in the
Okay.
agreement that it would apply to. So it doesn't have anything really to do with
Mutual
the
aid.
fire assistance,
Okay.
which is a separate issue.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on.
We add an item to our agenda to have a brief discussion on parking related to loading zones, golf carts, motorcycles, and bicycles. We will be discussing this more in the future. To go with some of the highlights of the departmental reports, fire department, there were 83 calls last month. All personnel received firefighter survival training. One of the big things is medical in-service covered the introduction of Narcan and its administration. So our firefighters are authorized to administer that, and that's the case of drug overdose, certain drug overdoses. There was a sinkhole on 25th at Hartnett. The water company was on site, had a watercraft in distress, took care of a couple of instances of smoke coming out of a car, dishwasher. They were all taken care of, and they responded to an accident on the connector. For the police department, the CALEA on-site, which is the Commission on Accreditation of Law Enforcement Agencies.
Very good.
We do this every, you don't ask me if I had to look it up again. They come and look at our city once every 3 years, I believe it is, Chief. And we go through the full process. Ours has morphed into the more difficult
The gold standard.
time, the gold standard, which we did the last time and passed with flying colors, and we expect the same this time. But they'll be on site 1st of December. Some of the types of calls they have: burglaries, simple assaults, vandalism, grand larceny, which was someone stole a $20,000 boat. One thing that bothers me on the burglaries is that people are continuing to leave cars unlocked in their driveways with valuables in them, and folks are taking advantage of that. So if you could please remember to lock your cars, even though in their front yard. Under livability, we had 17 noise complaints, which resulted in 4 citations and 4 warnings. There were 9 reported coyote sightings, and our next meeting is scheduled for January 5th at 2 o'clock.
Very good. When CALEA is here, they will entertain, we'll put a notice out for citizens to provide feedback on the police department's performance over the last 3 years, and they'll interview various folks on council, and anybody who wants to comment before the representatives that are here. And these are other law enforcement personnel from other agencies around the country. Chief used to be, you don't do it anymore, do you? Yeah. He used to travel and be a inquisitor.
If I'm not mistaken, Chief, don't we put in a telephone number that we advertise also so people can call those comments in?
So it's usually a citizen input session as well, and so it's very good. A very good process for us to, and it's really following documentation, making sure our documents follow what we think is right, and we follow what national standards are. So, just proving that we're a well-staffed and well-disciplined police department.
I'm going to ask the chief, is this our 5th? 6th? Even better.
And we are on the wrong cycle, however. I'm making this point, and I think maybe the administrator knows exactly where I'm going. Kalia was just in North Charleston at the Coliseum area, for a similar review. I think our review is going to be in Mobile. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If we were on a different cycle, we could have gone to North Charleston to have this inquisition happen. Anyhow, it's not my control. All right, nothing else for public safety?
Yeah, thank you.
Let's move on to public works.
Thanks, sir. Public Works met at 11 a.m. Wednesday, November 2nd. All committee members were in attendance. We approved the previous meeting minutes. Citizens' comments, item number 3. We went ahead and suspended the rules of order and moved new business B, discussion drainage problems at 3 Sandollar Court, up to citizens' comments since the homeowner, Mr. Clem, I think his name was, Kevin Clem,
Yep.
was there, and we had a nice, long discussion with him about his problem, and the committee asked a lot of questions, and we think we came up with a resolution that we discussed earlier
Mhm.
in Ways and Means. We had vehicle maintenance and trash collection reports. I don't have those reports with me, but things are tracking a little bit high, if I remember.
Correct.
From the previous month. Old business, I think we can take item A, update on golf cart path on Palm Boulevard between 18th and 20th Avenue, off the agenda.
Well, wait a minute. Is there lightning?
Well, you know how I put something on the agenda, and if it's feasible, I won't let go of it. And so this is something we've been working on, and appreciate everybody's help, especially Desiree and Douglas, and getting this project pushed through. It's a beautiful thing, y'all. See people use it.
Thanks.
So,
I'm going to ask, I wish there was Donnie who was here. People created their own path through Carmen Bunch Park,
yeah.
and we, of course, put another path in. I'm afraid people are going to continue to use their path instead of our path.
Absolutely.
I think we need to put up some tape there.
Either some police tape or that, or
Crime
some
scene.
minefields or whatever.
Minefield, yeah.
There's something there that they should know they should be directed this way. But the odds are they'll just keep going the way they've always gone.
Well, I'm
with it.
sure we'll address that, because it is kind of an eyesore.
Yeah, and then it'll grow back and be much more attractive again. Okay,
Anyway.
sorry.
That's okay, I'm just really glad it's open, and thanks to everybody that was involved with it. Then item B, we had an update on the status of debris removal operations after Hurricane Matthew, and we know all about that, and what a great job that Public Works Department did, and Donnie, and our contractor. It was hauntingly familiar after Hugo to see stuff down in the parking lots, because they wanted to get it off the street as fast as possible, and they had to temporarily store it in the parking lots. After Hugo, it was 20, 30 feet high. Fires burned for months because we couldn't get it off the island, and it was just really something else. We missed a big one on this one. But they're almost through with that, and I think the Public Works Department did an excellent job. We went on to update of electronic leak detection system for the underground storage tank at the Public Safety Building. And Linda, is there any update on that?
We have entered into that contract.
Okay. Then we had an update on the bike path improvements on Palm Boulevard from Breach Inlet to the connector. And it looks like this is another item that we'll be able to take off our agenda, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah.
So thanks to everybody that pushed really hard on this for the past several years. I remember us talking about it many years ago.
Mhm.
Never could get anywhere. So good job, everybody. Under new business, we talked about a report on the emergency purchase of a grapple attachment for skid steer in the amount of $4,014.50. and we went ahead and approved that. We had no miscellaneous business. Marie, I didn't write down when the next meeting was to be.
I don't have it committed to me.
We're gonna meet again, probably in
Probably
December.
so.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
All right.
we just don't know.
Yep.
And there was no executive session, and we adjourned. That's my report.
All right. Questions for Public Works? We good?
The January meeting's the 5th.
Yeah, the 5th at 11 o'clock.
Okay. Now you know.
All right. Rec Committee, please.
Mr. Mayor, you're going to be very pleased that this is going to be a short report.
Are you done already?
We met on November 2nd, 9 a.m. Director Page, as always, with First Staff, gave us a rundown of the programs going on. The Halloween, festival was a success. Go See Tide Tales was a success. We already talked about Musco's lighting contract and approved. We also discussed the success or non-success of the different programs, and Director Page is keeping a close eye on it and monitors it. And again, she just does a great job. One surprise was that the architect fee for trying to find a spot for the cardio workout room that we voted on for $7,500, the architects came back at $9,500. We haven't done anything, but that was a surprise.
Wow.
But having said that, we had the shortest meeting ever, 25 minutes. Our next rec meeting is going to be on January 5th at 9 a.m. So
Marvelous.
ends my report.
Marvelous. Well,
2 minutes.
I have one comment. I just want to point out the holiday tree lighting.
Oh, thank you.
If you want to take, it's December 3rd at Front Beach from 2 to 7.
Thank you very much. Come on.
Be
come on.
there.
Come on, yes.
Be there.
East Coast Party Band.
And I'm sure the mayor will have some decorations.
we'll be lit. You can interpret that any way you want. Let's go on to Personnel Committee, please.
Yes, we did not meet in November, but the employee vacancies in the city are a permitting clerk in the building department, which is effective January 1. The payroll human resource officer in general government, they're still interviewing through the week of Thanksgiving. And the 4 police officer candidates for police positions are currently going through background checks. In terms of the October's safety sweepstakes, general government, Marie Copeland, fire department, Victor Lawrence, in the police department, Craig Thompson, and public works, Bernard Gordine. And that ends my report.
Wow.
Excellent.
I do need to make one update that I haven't had a chance to share with the chair. The employee in the building department has withdrawn their request for retirement, so there will not be a vacancy this year.
Well, that's great news. We love Kathy.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Goodness. Real property,
Real
please.
property. I forgot to write down the date that we met, but we did meet, and everyone was present. First on the agenda was the evaluation of the bulkhead problem from JMT. Sand is washing through the weed drains, and the simplest method is to install new weed drains. But going forward, we have to come up with a plan. The simplest way would be to install jet filter removing the PVC weed drains. It sounds very technical, right? You can all read the report. It's so technical, and the costs were so variable that the committee wants to look at it further and have the more experts look at it. On to the public restrooms. Well, we passed for the planning. We have a new appraised value of the building, which is $325,000, and so considering the 50% rule, we can do $162,500 of improvements, and it needs every penny. We have a current guesstimate of $172,000, which obviously will not work, but that would include new fixtures, new stalls, new lights, openings to allow natural light, slatted ceiling with exhaust fans. And then also we have outdoor showers and a new walkway to the beach. That work would need to be completed under the $162,500 cap. Not the walkway and the showers, but everything in the building. First step of the project is to get the design and engineering documents, and we passed that in Ways and Means. We discussed the responsibilities in the contract for the attendant of the public restrooms. and what is expected of the attendant. This contract has been renewed every year without considering any need for changes, and the city is going to look into this contract going forward. The repair of the 49th Beach access, one good thing Matthew did is it filled in a trench down there, and so it decreased the work we need to do with Peterson Company, and obviously it will also decrease the cost. So we're moving forward to complete that. The comprehensive beach management plan was next on deck. That's a baseball reference. The Cubs did win.
Oh, it took you all this time to bring that up.
Meant to bring a picture in. The beach management plan, we're responding to comments by OCRM. Hopefully, once the comments are back with OCRM, we can wrap this up, perhaps 4 to 6 weeks. And then on to the big one, which we also discussed in Ways and Means, the beach restoration. We obviously lost a great deal of sand for Matthew, I guess estimated 85,000 cubic yards. We're working with the state for the borrow sites, which we discussed, and most importantly, we are amending the nourishment permit to include the entire 7 Mile Beach. That was passed in Ways and Means. All tenants are current on rents, and our next meeting is January 9th, 9:30 a.m.
Phew.
Yes.
Very nice. Was the appraisal done on the land as well at the front beach?
No. I think it was just the building. I would have to go back and look at their appraisal.
Because that couldn't possibly be the
That's-
building.
No, you just said it was the building. The
Yeah, I
question
don't
is,
remember
was
that we
it
asked
assessed
for an
separately?
additional
So-
appraisal for
There
land.
was a value in there for the land, it could be the old,
Yeah.
I can't,
We'd have to
there
check
is
it
a number
against
in
the
there, I
prior.
just can't
Thank you.
vouch for the accuracy of it.
Okay, any questions? Here, there? Very good. How expensive is the seepage? Any idea? I mean, you said there's, what, I mean,
It was-
are we
it was-
talking 20,000 or
No.
120?
No.
Well, if we did the very minimum, do you remember what it was? I was looking
Well,
at
the
it.
number that sticks in my head as and again, I don't have the report in front of me, but I remember a $300,000 number as being.
Is the upper end. Yeah, so we're looking at this some more.
Wow. For seepage. Okay, we'll wait to hear more.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, exactly. No, you have minutes, I guess, just passed out on the Planning Commission, and I guess they're no longer in process. I'll change that note. Board of Zoning Appeals, no issues. I'll move on to introduction of new bills. First reading, title only, ordinance 2016-10. I'll make a motion for title only, an ordinance amending Title I Government Administration, procedures, committees, ordinance, yada, 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 membership, appointments, yada, 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 ordinance to provide that the Personnel Committee's duties shall include screening, interviewing, and recommending candidates for appointments to boards and commissions.
Second.
Motion is seconded.
Yada, yada, yada.
Okay, all in favor of the first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion moves. 2 items under miscellaneous. One is, I need to get a date. We have an auditor's report that is, the auditor in our books is late, but not incomplete. So I'd prefer not to wait till next year to hear the auditor's report for our FY16. So, and Debbie tried on me the 29th, which doesn't work, of November, which is after. But we do have a scheduled date for ourselves to meet on December 6th. Is everybody still good with that? We can ask the auditors to come in and make a presentation at that time. Anybody? Nobody's?
Going once, going twice.
I can't, can you remind me why we're meeting December 6th? I just can't even remember.
It's just a,
Boards and commissions.
it's usually just a
Okay.
perfunctory, we stand up in boards and commissions, et cetera.
Okay.
But we'll, with the auditor's report, it'll take a
Okay.
little longer. And this is new auditor, so I'm not sure, I haven't even seen the audit report yet, and I'm not sure Linda's even finished with it, so.
I'm finished.
You're finished.
Turned over our.
So there are
Right.
comments, and then there has to be management comments and all that stuff, so hopefully we have a good report, and it's just, and a clean report, it's just a matter of getting the details together.
Mr. Mayor?
Okay, please.
That meeting was set for 6 p.m.? correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Could we consider doing it at 5, since it's going to be more of a meeting? I mean,
Sure,
originally,
sure.
it was just going to be a come in, do it, and leave.
Okay,
I
let's,
think we would have to call it a separate meeting, a special meeting for
we'll
the audit.
we'll do that at 5 o'clock.
That would work if they can do it then.
And then we'll morph into whatever else we've got. So try that on Debbie and the auditors, and if that works. Otherwise, we'll have to canvass everybody else. I put on here a discussion of secret season. We've mentioned this for a series of months now, as far as how do we promote the island in the off-season, and particularly the fall season. Of course, then Matthew hit us in the chops, but we don't expect to have Matthew again ever. You know, the key here is to how do we develop a program that allows us to promote the island and give the citizens and the visitors of the island some unique experiences, and that can be whether it be a musical forum, et cetera. How do we make that happen? We met with the property management companies and the food and beverage folks on the island back, I guess it was in the spring. In fact, they are the ones that came up with the term secret seasons, working on the premise that, hey, only the best of us know that it's such a marvelous time of the year to be here on the island. It's really a secret. And so they characterize it as the secret season, as the area that they wish to promote. So in that regard, we're trying to figure out how best to do that. We applied to the Municipal Association and were turned down, frankly, for some seed money for promotional initiatives. Frankly, while we love our proposal, they received far more proposals than they had money for, and so we did not fare well in that consideration. We have met with the county, or I have met with the county, and it's left. They are anxious to meet with us and find a way that we can use the county park as a focal point for these initiatives, because the county park is a closed environment. In addition, the county staff, county park staff, has event planning personnel. So we don't have to turn to Norma Jean all the time to plan, whether it be a weekly event or bi-weekly event, something to happen at the county park. It's closed. Food tents can be set up. I'm not going to say food trucks. I'm saying food tents can be set up from our appropriate food and beverage companies here on the island. Frankly, alcohol can be served there as opposed to being on city property, things of that nature. Considerations thus far have been, shag dancing, country band concerts, symphony. There's interest. The symphony has I think it's a brass ensemble that they would consider favorably in coming out here and having a brass concert for us. And the other one that was brought to us was a small focused car show. We can't handle too many there, but if we have the event there, then people who want to participate in the event can use our parking lot for there, and then whether we shuttle them down or whether they walk down doesn't matter. We have an area there. I think it was British Cars was the consideration. There's a 200-car event or something like that. It's always looking for a home, so we can snatch that if appropriate. So we're moving on, trying to make this happen. It's left for the county was to come back to us, and Matthew has now gotten in the way, and they have not come back to us yet. So, please, Jimmy.
Mr. Mayor, I greatly appreciate this secret season and events and stuff, but I think it's Charleston County Parks and Recreation that kind of turns us down on the front beach restrooms. But more than anything else, it's our brick and mortar businesses at Front Beach that we need to be promoting. And we're taking the people away from the Front Beach area where those businesses are. And it's the off-season down there that they suffer the most. So I kind of think that we ought to keep it down in the commercial district.
Well, there's a significant cost to keeping it in a commercial district. First of all, you have to plan the event, and then we have to close the road, which means we have to have security set up and everything else. So the thought was we could use county park, but that's already a given.
Well, maybe they could put the cars down there, the special
Yeah,
antique
yeah.
cars and stuff, and have everything else. Maybe we should talk to our commercial merchants and see what they feel, just out of curiosity.
Mr. Mayor?
We plan to call another forum
Just a thought
together.
on that. If we're going to have them parking in our city lots, they're virtually at Front Beach. So, I mean, it's only a block. I mean, it's bound to have overflow. If you have 200 British cars and 600 people, they're gonna find our businesses, I would hope.
And it's exposure to the businesses
Yes.
maybe they wouldn't get. But they're not mutually exclusive. I mean, where we can do both, where you rotate 1 week, one week.
Oh,
the
sure.
other.
And you mentioned that maybe they can have their tent,
Yeah,
like they do,
do in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
So,
Will this be, all this planning and coordinating from PRC, will it be free of charge, or are they expecting us to put
the
some money in
discussion, no, the discussion did not come to monies. That may come about when they sit down with Linda. But they have it on, they have it on staff, and they felt that they could handle it without special charge to us. Now, if, for instance, if the symphony comes out and the symphony needs to be compensated for their time, then I don't think PRC would pay for that. I think we would have to step up and.
They'll be compensated.
They'd be compensated, yeah, that wouldn't, you wouldn't want them to do it for free.
I would like to say, you're gonna have to do a sales job on the businesses, because I've talked to them, and that they're not for this.
Okay. Well,
But they didn't know about the car show, so I'm gonna try to sell them on that. But,
well,
they're-
that's just one. There
We
are
need to
others.
get them back together. I mean, we haven't gotten together with
Right.
this since the initial meeting.
And this may be a surprise, but the Front Beach Food and Beverage is not big. They're probably 30% of the island's food and beverage industry.
Right.
So we have to recognize that everybody has to be served by this, whether it be the folks at the Harris Teeter's lot, I don't know what else to call it, and then the other ends of the island all have food and beverage concerns as well. So that's part of the consideration.
And we do things at Front Beach, and we're going to continue to do things at Front Beach.
Yeah.
Just telling you what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's all.
well, closing the road is a cost to the city we haven't considered, and if I can find somebody like the county that can manage and set up the event, I feel a lot better off than calling Norma Jean and begging and borrowing her resources, which are, do a fine job, but it takes a lot. People don't realize what it takes to put one of those things together. It's a labor of months, frankly. So that's where we are. Any other concerns, comments?
Before we leave
Please.
secret season, just happy news. If you haven't been down to Front Beach lately, please take
Oh,
a
yeah.
ride through there. The banners are up that say holidays are best at the beach. Again, trying to promote the beach is a good time to enjoy your holidays. And big thanks to Amy Lee for getting those banners ordered and spearheading that, and to Victor Lawrence and
For
his
getting
team
them up.
for getting them down there and installed. So take a look and chat it up to everybody that holidays are best at the beach. So,
Is the tree up
Support those businesses.
Thursday.
Thursday?
The new tree.
The new, brand new
We're
tree.
advancing things.
You climb up?
All right, no other items to be brought forward. We have the special meeting, as you see, on the 6th in January, and then we're moving on. Oh, we have a meeting tomorrow, too. I'm sorry. Man, I'm going to see you again, right quick. All right, motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
And we're gonna feed you, too, so.
So it is at noon, it's not at 3.
It's at noon. It's at noon.